This must have happened to you as well, that you open your fridge door and you look and you find some vegetables and you think to yourself, I'll do it tomorrow, not today. And the same applies to me as well. I've actually got a few vegetables in the fridge and they've been there for a few days now. They're beginning to complain to me. They think that I've got favorites. I always cook aubergines. So I bought a couple of peppers a week ago and here they are, look. There. They're beginning to look a little bit sorry for themselves. Also, a week ago I bought some Portobello mushrooms and I had big plans for them and they've not been anywhere. And to make matters worse, I got some spinach here and it doesn't help that our relationship started on a bad footing as they were reduced before we even started. So they were complaining, so I decided to make use of them and I've come up with a wonderful idea and I will be cooking them in a vegetarian dish and I will be doing some lentils and I will be stuffing the peppers with lentils and I will be also using some orzo pasta. I'll show you, you might know what I mean. This little pasta reminds me of rice and I think I prefer pasta to rice inside peppers, so I'm experimenting something new. Let's see how it goes. You'll have gathered that I'm chopping a few vegetables to make a soffritto, which will be the base of my lentils. And as usual, I'll put a little olive oil in a saucepan. And once the oil is nice and hot, I will add my chopped vegetables. Also, right from the beginning, I will be putting in a bay leaf. Clove of garlic, a large one, crush it with a knife. And after the vegetables have been sizzling for a couple of minutes, I will be adding it as well. What is interesting is that out of all the vegetables, the strongest flavor is coming from the bay leaf. It's the most innocent looking thing, but it does actually carry some powerful flavor. And I'm now adding my lentils. These are soaked in water, they soaked overnight, but they are still uncooked. And I am about to go controversial as I'm adding half a glass of white wine. This is dry white wine. The reason why I'm saying controversial is because generally you either add water or vegetable stock. But I'm trying something different today and I got this feeling that the wine will give it a lovely kick, being the first and only liquid at the moment in the mix. And once the alcohol from the wine evaporates, I'm adding now a sprig of rosemary from my garden. And I'm now adding some tomato puree. This is approximately 1 tablespoon. Mix everything together and also add a little salt and some pepper. Now that all of the liquid has evaporated or being absorbed by the lentils, I'm going to be adding a glass of fairly hot water, just 1 glass. And once it starts boiling again, I'll put the lid on and I'll turn it down on a low heat for the next 10 to 15 minutes. In the meantime, I'll deal with the mushrooms as they were the loudest in the fridge this morning. So I'm actually chopping them lengthwise first and then I'm cutting them also the other way around to make them into smaller pieces. And I will add them to my lentils. Quick mix, put the lid on and leave them to simmer. So let's take a look. After 10 minutes they have actually cooked very nicely. You will see that all the mushrooms have reduced in size and there is still a little water, which is great. And now that they're actually really screaming for more water, I'm happy to add some more. And this is boiling hot water. I've just boiled the kettle and I'm going to be adding enough water to leave 1 centimeter above the top of the lentils. So spinach, I'm going to be adding a good couple of handful. Looks like there is a lot there, but they will immediately within a minute or two go down considerably in size. I'm also having some plum tomatoes. These were very fresh, no complaints there. And add them to the mix. And I found 3 stragglers sun-dried tomatoes, so I thought, oh, maybe I'll add them as well, why not? They might add a different aromatic flavor to the whole thing. So why not indeed? So the spinach have gone down already, and give everything one final mix. I'll put the lid on and I'll turn them down for another 10 minutes and they should be ready. In the meantime, I'll start working with the peppers. When you buy peppers, assuming you want to stuff them, try and pick peppers that stand by themselves. So this one is okay, this one is also okay, and lack more than better judgment as I didn't buy them for this job. But sometimes they've got a pointy end. Quite clearly they're good, but not if you want to stuff them. And go along with a knife and just chop the little head off. And when you open the pepper, you will see that there's quite a lot of seeds. They look actually quite intriguing inside. I think it's quite fascinating actually. And I go in, cut them up, and very simply just pull the seeds out. Also, see these little white bits left inside? Remove as much as you can, because they can be quite bitter and difficult to digest. You can always go back in also with your knife. Dead easy. Very, very easy. And there, 2 beautiful cleaned peppers. They proudly stand by themselves. And while you're at it, unless you got anything else better to do, you might just as well remove some of this white from the top. That is not too important really, but I will end up eating the top, so I might just as well clean now. And you will have figured out that I do not need all of these for my 2 little peppers. I will only need 4 ladles. So I will get some liquid as well. So 1, 2, 3 and 4. Most probably 4 is too many anyway. And I will be keeping this for soups or lunch with some croutons, and delicious. Here is my Orzo pasta. I've weighed approximately 90 grams, most probably again more than what I need, but that will be fine. And I'll mix it in with the lentils. And I'm moved on the hob now, and I'm going to cook the pasta for approximately 4 to 5 minutes. It's not going to be cooking throughout, just enough to absorb some of the initial liquid, so then I can judge if I need to add some more or not, and I will finish cooking in the oven. The pasta cooked for 3 minutes, and I've let it rest here for 2 further minutes, so 5 minutes altogether. Still piping hot, nowhere near cooked, but it's going to go in the oven. Before I proceed, I'm adding some Parmesan cheese so that we get some great flavor in those lentils. Followed by a little olive oil. And fill in your peppers. That's number 1. And that's number 2. I've got some leftover pasta, so I've got an idea. I'm going to be adding a little bit more liquid from my lentils. And I'll pour it at the bottom of my tin to make a nice little base. A little bit more olive oil on top, and some cheese as well, some Parmesan cheese on top of those peppers. And you must have been expecting this. Some parsley on the very, very top. I think is absolutely imperative. Now try and find the right top. I think this is from here, and this one here is from over here, not the other way around. Yeah. 1 and 2. And they will go in the oven now. I will pop them in for 40 minutes. at 180 degrees, but I will cover them with tin foils for the first 25 minutes so that doesn't dry up too much, and then I will remove the tin foil for the last 15, and then we can eat them. See you in about 45 minutes. And I'm back. So a few updates. Cooking time 45 minutes. What I did for the first 25 minutes, as I said, covered everything up with tin foil. But then when I removed the tin foil, I noticed that the lentils at the base were drying up a bit. So I cooked this with the tin foil on top throughout, and I've also added a little olive oil so that they are nice and moist and they look perfect. And this is my little invention. What I did for the last 20 minutes, I transferred them onto this pudding tray, and they sit perfectly. Look at that, wonderful. Genius idea. But also I've added a little cheese on top. I thought, why not? This is a little cheddar which I put on top at the last 5 minutes, so that a little bit more presentational pleasure. They've been out of the oven now for a good 5 minutes, so they are safe-ish enough for me to touch them. So I'll transfer them on my plate. So here we are, we're supposed to finish the video and Julie's already eating.
And may I say, this is delicious.
So this is
On
the
its
extra
own,
left over.
So far, so good, fabulous.
And I'm gonna see if we can try some with the pepper as well. It seems almost a shame to spoil it, really. May I say, the pepper is cooked to perfection.
They smell delicious.
And by the way, feel free to add more Parmesan cheese on top if you like. I didn't because I put some cheddar on at the very end, but personal choices. Definitely. They're lovely. It works very well. And actually, I said that before, I prefer the pasta to the rice. People put rice inside peppers. Obviously, nothing wrong with rice, but I think this little pasta gives a little more moisture to the whole thing because it carries a lot more water. Anyhow, preferences. It's a success. And
Definitely.
the peppers have stopped complaining, so it's everything else. And clearly a great idea to make use of vegetables which are beginning to look old. Thank you for watching, and see you later. Bye.